Well, good evening and welcome to Space Oddities. We hope you're okay on this Tuesday evening. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time here, you are very welcome indeed, and we hope you'll continue to be a regular viewer. So I'm joined this evening by some very familiar faces. Hello, Daz.
Hello.
Hello, Roger.
Good evening.
Hello, Michael. And hello, Lou.
Greetings from far away.
Greetings from far away. In case you don't know, Lou is in the US. The rest of us are spread around. I'm in Spain, and the other three gentlemen are in the UK. Yay. So we're particularly happy tonight to have Lou back, who's going to, from now on, I hope, be with us for the duration of the live stream, because for quite a while he's had to dash off and do some teaching. But welcome, Lou, to your first full Space Oddities live stream in quite a while, really, I think, isn't it?
3 or 4 months, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So there we are. Thank you so much to all of you for supporting us during Moon Month. Moon Month is now over, although we do still have a few videos to post that have sort of hung over. They'll be going up before the end of the week. But to everybody who has watched our videos in Moon Month, we'd just like to say a very big thank you. It's really much appreciated. We hope you enjoyed them. And we think it's been a big success. So on the back of that, we are going to be doing Mars Month, a month of videos and live streams all about Mars in September. As I said last week, we're going to give it a rest for the summer when a lot of people are away, and probably last thing they want to do is to watch Space Oddities when they're on holiday, and who can blame them? But we are going to be doing Mars Month in September. If there's anything in particular you would like us to cover during Mars Month, then drop us a line at info@spaceoddities.space, and we will certainly consider it. So let's just do the usual housekeeping things. First of all, big thank you to Gerard for your donation already. Gerard, much appreciated, sir, as always. If you would like to donate to Space Oddities, you can do so in a few different ways. You can, first of all, you can buy us a coffee, and just put this up on the screen if it will stay still. There we are. Hang on. Oh God, it's jumping right over. What's wrong with it? Right. No, that's not done it. Give me 1 second. I'm having a few problems here. There we are. That's got it. Right. So you can buy us a coffee by scanning this QR code, or you can click the link that should have just appeared in the chat. And that will take you to the Buy Me a Coffee page, where you can keep us going in caffeine. And all the money that you kindly donate to us goes towards keeping Space Oddities running. So thank you very much. You can, of course, go to the Space Oddities shop to buy your merchandise. Our lovely Space Oddities t-shirts and hoodies are available at the Space Oddities shop. So again, you can scan the QR code, or you can click the link that's just appeared in the chat to peruse our fantastic summer collection of Space Oddities fashionable gear. And we hope you enjoy it. We've all bought it, so and it's jolly good quality stuff. So that's the Space Oddities shop. Now tonight, what have we got for you tonight? We have got. We're going to be looking at the recent news that astronomers may have visually seen the Elusive Planet 9, which they've been searching for quite a few years now. And there are very good reasons to think it exists. But Lou is going to tell us all about that a bit later, because it's a fascinating topic. And let's hope that the observations pan out and they have indeed seen Planet 9. Or at least an infrared representation of it. So we're really thrilled that Lou's going to be talking to us about that. Coming up later, we've inevitably got Roger's Night Sky Guide and the Viewers Gallery, and he's also going to be doing this week's Constellation of the Week. I'll let him tell you all about that. And of course, we've got our regular look at the geniuses on social media in our regular Einstein of the Week spot here on Space Oddities. So there we are. So I think what we'll do first of all is to get started with the news. A few stories in the news this week. So just let me set myself up here, which will take me very, very short time indeed. And here we are. So here's this week's news. And the headline news really is the this discovery of Planet 9, or alleged discovery of Planet 9. And as I said earlier, we'll let Lou go into the detail of this a little later. But we thought we'd do a special edition about it tonight because it could prove to be a really significant discovery. Anyway, that will come later. New image from the James Webb Space Telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope. In this image, it has discovered 1,678 clusters of galaxies in the early universe. Some of these clusters of galaxies are 12 billion years old, or at least we're seeing them as they were 12 billion years ago. And this is an absolutely beautiful image from the James Webb telescope. I'm trying to find out a little more information about this because there's not actually that much information at the moment, but presuming I do, I'll go into it in a bit more detail next week. But I think you'll all agree the image is amazing. Those stars with the spikes are, of course, stars within our own galaxy. They're nearby stars with all the early galaxies there in the background. And if you look at that image, the sheer variety of shapes and colors of those galaxies is absolutely unbelievable. So lovely image from the James Webb Telescope there. In 1972, the Soviet Union launched one of their Venera missions to Venus on a spacecraft called Cosmos 482. Unfortunately, it never left low Earth orbit because of a problem with its propulsion system, and it's been hanging around in Earth orbit since 1972. This is actually a model of what it might look like. Obviously, it's not the actual one, but it's now chosen to return to the Earth. And after 53 years orbiting the Earth, it's now going to come down through the atmosphere. It's going to re-enter sometime between May the 9th and May the 10th. We don't know where it's going to land yet. We don't even know if it's going to burn up in the atmosphere, because don't forget, this thing was designed to survive the atmosphere of Venus. So it's quite possible it may not burn up in Earth's atmosphere. Of course, there's always the frightening possibility that it could impact somewhere on land, more than likely to land in the sea, of course. But anyway, keep your eyes open for that, literally. And let's hope it doesn't fall on any of your houses. It really strangely, it looks from telescopes on the ground as if it could be trailing something behind it, leading to speculation that it's already opened its parachute when it felt itself descending. So we will see what happens with that, and we'll tell you more about that, obviously, after it's happened next week. But this is a bit of an archaeological time capsule as far as space technology goes. In some ways, I'm hoping it does reach the ground, because it's 1972 Soviet technology, and if it does survive, it'll be really interesting to see what's inside it, and how it was put together and what technology was used. Because, of course, in those days, the Russians told us nothing about their spacecraft. So a bit of a time capsule we could have on our hands there. So really exciting stuff. Moving on to the Psyche spacecraft, which, as you may know, is en route to the Psyche asteroid, which it's going to reach in the summer of 2029. It should be pulled into orbit around the asteroid in July 2029 and start observations the following month. It's developed a problem, wouldn't you just know it? Now, this thing uses so-called Hall effect electric thrusters for propulsion, and the fuel for those is the gas xenon. It's totally inert, but a problem has developed in the fuel line from the xenon tank to the thrusters. Now, mission scientists are hoping that the engineers can fix this problem before June, because in June it's due to do a flyby by the planet Mars. And obviously for that, it needs its propulsion system intact and working. So they're struggling to solve the problem before June. I think June the 10th is the deadline that they have to solve the problem by. But it's not actually as bad as it sounds, because it has alternative ways of delivering the fuel to the Hall effect thrusters. So if they can't solve the problem with the fuel line as it is, they think they know a way to get the fuel to the thrusters regardless. So it's a bit of an annoyance, but that's all it is at the moment. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. The asteroid Psyche is important, of course, because it's thought to be incredibly metal rich. It's meant to contain at least 80% metal, and these are, a lot of them are precious metals. And the figure bandied around was that the total worth of this asteroid in dollars was about 10 times the whole economy of the Earth, which of course it would never be, because, you know, it's market forces. If you have enough of something, the price goes down. However, nobody's going to mine it in the near future anyway. But what we could be looking at here is the metal core of an ancient planetoid that for some reason never formed a planet around itself. Or alternatively, it could be the core of a planetoid that was mostly destroyed in a collision, leaving just the core behind. It's an extremely mysterious asteroid, hence the reason for the visit by the Psyche spacecraft, because we really want to know more about this strange world. This is, of course, an artist's impression. We don't really know what it looks like, obviously, because it looks no more than a dot in even the largest telescopes. But they've been able to calculate its mass and its density, and it really is a metal-rich asteroid. So we'll look forward to that and just hope that the Psyche spacecraft doesn't develop any further problems. Now, you may recognize this lady. It's Katy Perry, of course, during her recent flight on the Blue Origin New Shepard. Should we call it a spacecraft or Disney ride, or, you know, whatever you want to call it? She did spend virtually the whole of the time above the Earth staring into a camera with a flower in her hand. She had a world tour to promote, after all, and she's caused a bit of a stir, in fact, more than a bit of a stir. The whole mission was heavily criticized for being full of extremely rich celebrity women, calling themselves astronauts, and devaluing the whole business of being an astronaut, because after all, astronauts have to go through years of intensive training, and they only just go into space. Of course, they only just pass the Kármán line, and the whole trip lasts 11 minutes. But this is not why Katy Perry has been in the news. You see, what happened was that after landing, as you can see in this photograph, she actually opened the door of New Shepard from the inside. Now, there are strict protocols about this, and one of them is that the door is only to be opened in the event of emergency, and it's not to be opened by any of the crew unless there's a real emergency. Jeff Bezos on the left there was standing by, ready to do the PR bit of opening the capsule and welcoming the women home. So that person to the right of Bezos is rushing towards the capsule to shut the door again so that he could have his PR moment. And you know, this whole thing is a farce, to be quite honest. But Jeff Bezos was really upset with Katy Perry, and to that end, he is now suing her for $50 million because she broke operational protocol and opened the door from the inside, which all of the ladies had been instructed not to touch at all. But Katy Perry says she was never told, and you know, Blue Origin is saying, well, they were all told in their training for the mission not to touch the door under any circumstances unless there was an emergency. But I think $50 million is a bit of an overkill, don't you think, guys, for this?
Just a tad.
I think
Yeah.
she's not they're not astronauts. They are, at best, they are space tourists.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
Agree.
I agree. What do you expect?
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, I mean, when their astronaut training is probably a few hours, and when one of the few instructions is don't open the door, obviously she wasn't listening. She's probably on her phone.
Yeah, probably. But this whole thing is now shrouded in ridicule. The conspiracy theorists have been busy, obviously, with all of this, saying the whole thing was staged and faked and filmed in a studio anyway. One theory was going around saying that there were no indentations in the ground from New Shepard's landing gear, and that's why it was fake. Well, of course, New Shepard doesn't have landing gear. It just lands belly down in the desert. And just a few seconds before it lands, there's a big puff of compressed air to cushion the landing, which is why all that dust always flies up when you see New Shepard land. Doesn't have landing gear, but, lack of facts never bothers conspiracy theorists, of course. And there are all sorts of other things they were saying that were crazy. So the whole thing has been a farce, but it really does denigrate the idea of being an astronaut, in my opinion.
Paul
rips celebs up for an 11-minute ride.
Sorry to interrupt, but Paul's just put up instead of Blue Origin, call them Sue Origin.
Yeah, that's quite right, Paul. Well, we know from experience that Jeff Bezos is extremely litigious. As I always say, he has his lawyer on speed dial. He sues at the drop of a hat. But I think if he thinks he's going to get $50 million out of Katy Perry, he's very much mistaken. There's also a story now that Katy Perry is countersuing because she thinks her career has suffered since she did the flight. So it looks like she's going to come back and sue Jeff Bezos. And, it's just ridiculous. It's really not worth spending that much time on. But there you are. I just thought I'd mention that because it's just crazy, absolutely stupid. Okay, NASA next. NASA, the proposed budget cut to NASA of 24.8% in the next year by the Trump administration. This is the single biggest drop that NASA have ever experienced during their budget. And we're particularly, obviously any cuts to NASA is bad, but the one that the media are not talking about at the moment much is the cuts to space science. So all those missions that NASA have mounted in the past, from Voyager to Pioneer to Galileo to Cassini, the Mars rovers, all of that, you can say goodbye to any more, because this will kill space science at NASA. Because Trump wants to prioritize the glory missions of going to the moon and Mars so he can bask in the reflected glory. If we just look at the actual things that are going to be cut, the Artemis program is going to suffer with the Space Launch System, the rocket that gets everything to the moon. That's going to be phased out after Artemis 3. And the Lunar Gateway space station is going to be cancelled altogether, even though large parts of it have already been built by different countries. So they're not going to be very happy about that. However, having said that, we've said for a long time that Artemis in its current form with the SLS is not sustainable, because it's going to cost billions of dollars per launch. And the Lunar Gateway, well, we never saw a need for it anyway, because it was only going to be used maybe once a year. And there was no real justification for the Lunar Gateway as part of Project Artemis. Might be useful for other projects, but the Lunar Gateway really hasn't justified its existence. It would be great to have a permanent space station orbiting the moon for astronauts. But as Boeing can only build one SLS per year, the number of missions to the moon with people on per year could only ever be one. And that would leave the Lunar Gateway unoccupied for most of the time. So, you know, it's not really an ongoing thing, the Lunar Gateway. But what's going to replace the SLS? Who knows? And the Trump administration say they want private industry, i.e. SpaceX, to provide the launch systems in the future. Because frankly, they are the only company at the moment that can really do it, as long as they get the Starship working soon. So anyway, you know, the SLS and the Lunar Gateway have made the headlines, as I said, but it's really the cuts to space science that are flying under the radar a bit, and it will be a disaster for NASA space science. This is only a budget proposal. Congress can turn around and reject any or all of it. So let's hope that wiser heads prevail somewhere in Congress, and that the cuts to space science don't happen, because it would be a tragedy. It really, really would. Anyway, here's the actual budget. As you can see, the highlighted bit at the bottom, I don't know whether you can read that, it might be a bit small, but it's it's minus 24.3%. Interestingly, and even worse, immediately under that is the National Science Foundation, which stands to lose 55.8% of its budget. Luke, can you just tell the viewers a little bit about what the National Science Foundation does?
Sure. Well, NASA, if you ask NASA to say what it does in a nutshell, they'll say relaunch missions, human missions, robotic missions. We explore the universe with missions. The National Science Foundation, at least in its role in contributing to astronomy and space science, uses ground-based observatories. And so there are a number that they support currently. There are a number of new observatories, as you had pointed out, with the ELT and so on coming online. So NSF is responsible for ground-based observations of space.
Right. So this will have a big effect on astronomy, basically.
It will have a huge effect on astronomy. And if I may say, I see. Well, first of all, as you say, traditionally the presidential budget is received gratefully and then thrown in the trash. So Congress will decide. It seems that in order to gather as much money as he needs for the tax breaks for largely for the wealthy, he is willing to sacrifice science, not just in astronomy, but in all fields of research.
Yeah.
And so in some sense, it's work that he doesn't understand, sees no value in, and in some sense, it's observations such as in the case of climate change that threaten his positions. So we'll see what Congress does.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not necessarily bad news, but you know, a 55.8% cut in the NSF budget would be disastrous if it stands. So
also, I have seen the breakdown within NASA and within the NASA Science Mission Directorate, and I think, if I remember correctly, that heliophysics did not take such a big hit. And if I'm remembering correctly, that I imagine is driven by the need for an understanding of the space radiation environment as we go to the moon and then Mars. And so that needs to be modeled, and there have been already meetings, I'll call them. I think the first one was at Kennedy Space Center by the heliophysics community to see how to respond to this. So,
yeah.
Anyhow,
Yeah,
all right.
but didn't he also already cut lots of jobs at NOAA?
Oh yes. Well, NOAA's very inconvenient. I mean, what does it really do?
Yeah, for him, yeah.
Right? Climate.
Yeah.
Worthless.
Sad. Yeah. It's all very, very sad and very, very scary. All right then. So just before we finish the news, just something to uplift you a bit after all the doom and gloom of that. The latest picture of the construction of Europe's extremely large telescope in the Atacama Desert in Chile. There we are. That's the latest view taken from a drone. of the extremely large telescope, and I think you'll agree it's coming on incredibly well. If you want to get an idea of scale here, what I will do here, we'll just zoom in a bit, and you see that truck there. So you can see how massive the extremely large telescope is. First light is expected towards the end of 2027. Not long to go. Well, it depends on your point of view, of course. But this is the world's largest optical telescope ever built, with a 39-meter segmented mirror consisting of, I think it's 87 mirror segments to make this enormous mirror. It's going to have the most advanced adaptive optics ever built. Adaptive optics means that it will compensate for the twinkling of astronomical objects caused by the movement of the atmosphere. Because even though it's in Chile, Chile's got the most stable dark skies in the world, but they still need to compensate for the atmosphere moving, which it does all the time, which of course is why stars twinkle. And everything about it is just cutting edge technology, and can't wait to see first light from this. If all goes to plan, and if the telescope delivers what the engineers think they've designed, this telescope will have 16 times the resolution of the Hubble Space Telescope. And that's quite a thought. From a ground-based telescope to be able to do that is quite amazing. I would love to go and see this one day. And if you want to see a video from inside this, if you go to YouTube and search for a gentleman called Tom Scott, who makes all sorts of interesting, fascinating documentaries, he actually had a tour around the inside. It's about 6 months ago now, so it wasn't as complete as it is now, obviously. But that's worth looking up, because it's like a huge cathedral of science, this whole building. It's the scale of it is absolutely mind-blowing, and it's a testament to skill and engineering, and just boldness, really, to build something this big. The telescope was originally going to have a 42-meter mirror, but they figured off that if they shaved off the outer ring of hexagons — the hexagons are the segments that comprise the main mirror — if they took the outer ring off, they could save €1 billion in the construction without too much of a bad effect on the telescope. So they sized it down to a 39-meter mirror and saved €1 billion. So I'm sure European taxpayers like us are very happy about that. Well, personally, I wish they kept it at 42, but they had to cut somewhere because it was getting expensive. So there we are. So that is the news for this week. And I hope you enjoyed that. There'll be more next week, almost certainly. So for now, let's carry on by having a chat about this Elusive Planet 9. Now, this is where is the thing? Here we are. I can't see your presentation here anymore.
Remember, I took it down because I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, okay, right. You can share your screen. Okay,
there's a video in it, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, so I'll let you tell the viewers all about this.
All right, let's see if I can share. Let us see.
Because it's really amazing to think that astronomers might have discovered this elusive planet. 1 second, let's bring it up here.
Does that? Okay. Do you see the title slide?
No, I've got the design screen, but not the slideshow. If you click the slideshow icon at the bottom of the screen, that will show it.
All right.
The one to the left of the zoom bar.
Here's the zoom bar. Oops.
No?
I'm looking.
Not working?
Taskbar, display settings.
On the bottom right-hand side of the...
Yeah, to the right of that, you've got 4 icons. It's the last one.
Well, I hear you. I hear you talking. I wonder if this is going to have to. What is the deal here?
There's two icons at the top. One says from the beginning, and one says
Yeah, you can do it there
current
as well.
slide. Yeah, two big ones on the top right, top left. Sorry, says
Yeah.
slide. It looks like a screen, a slide screen.
So if you just click from beginning, Lou. No?
Okay, so let me get out here. All right, now there we go. From beginning.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
Do you see?
No, it hasn't enlarged.
I'm having problems here. It's not.
Don't know. All right. Well, listen. Let's leave that for the moment. Let you sort that out. I'm just going to take this off the screen. So I think what we'll do then is go over to Roger, if you're okay, Roger,
Yes.
with this week's viewers gallery, and of course the guide to the night sky. So there we are, Roger.
Okay. Always good then. Right. Okay. So after 2 weeks, here I am back with the night sky for the 6th to the 12th of May. And we're currently going out to a full moon, which will be next week. So no doubt we'll be hoping for cloudy skies when that happens. So we are currently experiencing the galaxies of Leo and Virgo in the southern skies, with Jupiter still above the horizon over towards the sort of west-northwest at the moment. But there we go. But we do also have Mars in Cancer. So as we progress through, we will start to get the Milky Way core coming out through in the morning, very well, just a few hours before sunrise. So that's looking good. And we'll also be getting the summer triangle coming up soon. So that's all well and good. But before sunrise, we've got the usual suspects of Saturn, Neptune, Venus, and Mercury, with probably only Venus visible due to the brightening of the skies, and Mercury possibly if you've got a very good low horizon. So good luck with anyone trying to get hold of that. So as I was saying, Mars is currently going through Cancer, and yesterday and tonight it's by M44, the Persepe, so that's a good photo opportunity if you've got clear skies. And as I'm in Sparkford, the answer will be yes. I know. So we are starting to get the Milky Way core coming up through the wee hours before dawn. So opportunities will be getting better and better as the months improve. Obviously, with the days getting shorter, it will be better viewed from about August onwards. So keep an eye out for your photo opportunities for the Milky Way arch, which is always better in the from this part of the skies rather than the winter one. Okay, so we do have an interesting gallery, of course, from our usual subscribers. And the first one is the Markarians chain with an image from Jerry DeLay. And this is his collection.
Oh, lovely.
And a very nice collection there are too.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, pretty.
Always a spectacular image, that is.
Oh, yes.
Well done, Jerry.
Yes, well done. And then we've got Lee with his Sea Star, M81 and M82. Now, this has been ongoing for 8¼ hours in EQ mode. And he's been processing it in Cyril, Photoshop, Graxpert, and AstroSharp. Okay, have a look at this.
Wow.
That's gorgeous.
What you can do with this Sea Star S50.
Sea Star. That's unbelievable.
That's
I know. Yeah.
That's brilliantly.
Yeah.
God.
That's amazing, isn't it?
That is truly amazing.
How much did we all spend on our telescope equipment?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that was amazing. Right,
Well done,
we've
Lee.
got a few. Now we've gone from a C-Star S50 to the 2-meter telescope that is in Siding Springs in Australia. Here's a few that Kenneth Holmedal did.
Oh wow.
So we've gone from 8.25 hours to a matter of minutes.
Oh,
Mm.
Oh, that's
Right, now-
stunning.
Right, now this one was M98. So
That's beautiful,
Very-
Kenneth.
That is. That's gorgeous.
Wow.
yeah,
Nice color.
very nice.
M98. I'm not familiar with that one. Does
Are
it have a
you?
name?
Okay.
I wonder.
Probably, but I'm not aware of it.
Let me just look that up.
All right. And then he blended some bits and pieces, 90 seconds each channel. So this is what we got for this.
It does have a name. It's called M98.
Okay.
And it contains, believe it or not, about 1 trillion stars.
Okay. So this is another one where he's got the LRGB with only 90 seconds of each channel.
Incredible.
Wow.
This is what happens when you've only got 2 meters of telescope to deal with.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is sad. It's only 2 meters.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Starved of light. Starved of light.
So just imagine how quickly you
Oh.
deal with the LR, the ELT. You probably need about 5/100ths of a second.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And then it'll probably burn out.
And
Yeah, probably.
You wouldn't need it guided either.
With
No, you
adaptive
wouldn't.
optics, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Stunning that is.
Yeah.
But if you could
And,
get 400 sea stars kind of connected to you.
Oh, get several sea stars all over the world. Make a big, big
Sorry.
telescope.
So he's also used it for the Sombrero Galaxy.
Oh, stunning.
Another one with only 90 seconds
90
per
seconds?
channel. 90 seconds per channel.
But even so, that's something. Look at the dust lanes.
I know.
Fantastic.
What telescope?
no. This is a 2-meter telescope that belongs to the Liverpool University.
Oh, yeah.
Outside
Yeah.
Springs in Australia.
Yes.
Oh,
Wow.
That one.
lovely.
That's beautiful.
And just to finish his collection off, it's M99, which is also known as the Catherine's Wheel. And this is 6 minutes in total here.
Oh.
That's lovely.
Oh,
Gorgeous.
that is a Capri wheel, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. Very good. Oh, well. Right, okay, so now we're on to Michael's solar image that he took near Dublin, and this was with his Evolux 62mm. So slightly smaller than the last telescope. But there we've got that huge, big sunspot there.
Yeah.
Very good.
Is
Yeah.
it rotating into view or out of
Just
view?
rotating out,
Out of
Yeah.
view, yeah.
beginning to move.
Yeah.
I guess just going off the western limb, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And one from Lou with his C star.
Oh,
And this is M51. Okay, 2 hours of 10-second subs and a little post-processing. Ta-da!
Stunning.
He's
oh wow, Lou.
got them both together. Well done, Lou.
Yeah, well, fantastic.
You know, there's sometimes I just don't feel like going out and opening up the observatory. So
Mhm.
Okay, why not?
Fantastic. Well done. Lou.
Right. So here's some of mine, and these were done today because of the prominence.
oh,
Yeah.
Been a bit,
Stunning,
a
isn't
little bit of solar activity today.
Wow.
That's very
Yeah,
prominent.
isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it'll be interesting to watch that big sunspot disappear off the western limb, see if there's anything actually, any big prominences. Because when it came in on the eastern limb, there were some very prominent prominences. That sounds stupid. But hopefully there'll still be, there'll still be some action occurring there. Because at the moment the sun is low on sunspot regions, as you saw from the image earlier. There's only 4 today, but there are lots of coronal holes, which are giving us enhanced solar wind, which has been buffeting us about a little bit over the last few weeks. So yeah, it's very good.
Okay, so here's another one of the big sunspot, and then the one over on the right hand side is the calcium version, which I've managed to enhance to show the other prominences around the disk.
Yeah,
That's
very
really
nice.
nice, Roger.
It is. Well done.
That gives you an idea how big that sunspot is over on the right hand side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're all doomed.
Massive.
It's all over.
Yeah. And that concludes the What's in the Night Sky with the gallery for this week.
Well, thank you very much. That's
very
fantastic.
good.
Thank you. And yeah, so keep the images coming in, viewers. Hang on, I've got the camera for some reason. Keep the images coming in. If you would like to send your images in to the gallery, then you can attach them to an email and mail it to gallery@spaceoddities.space. Of course, anybody who does mail us images gets their own little gallery on the Space Oddities website, which is https://spaceoddities.space. And there you are, and you get your own galleries to show off your work to your friends or anybody else who wants to have a look. And thank you for all of your images. We do appreciate them. We do love looking at them. So please do keep them.
Just a comment, a question from Ian. Says, what's a prominence called coming at you? Well, if you mean coming at you, if it's in line of sight, we see it as a filament, which is usually a dark streak you'll see across the sun's face. So that's what you'll see if the filaments have got any sort of like substance to it. If it's actually coming towards you, then that's probably a CME, coronal mass ejection, which means we could be in for some fun. So that's what it is. So if it's looking at you, you'll see it as a long filament, a long dark stripe. There was one about 10 days ago, a very, very long filament that really lifted off. And it did give us a bit of some auroras lower latitudes. But I've been getting most of my alerts. We were talking earlier, I get most of my alerts during the daytime. It's no good for me.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you, everybody. And as I said, do keep the images coming in. If you would like to email us at any time, the Space Oddities email address is info@spaceoddities.space. We love hearing from you. So anytime you want to drop us a line about anything, really, then please do so, and we'll look forward to seeing your emails. Before we go any further, before I forget, actually, Michael, do you want to mention the Capcom?
Yes, although I haven't got anything ready for it as such at the moment.
Well, you could just mention it.
Yeah, the latest issue of Capcom has just been finalized. If you're a subscriber, it should be in your email box by now. If not, please send an email to Capcom at SpaceOddities.space. We will add you to the email list to receive the Capcom for free. Thanks for that, Andy. Yes, this is showing some of the recent covers of the magazine. It's mainly about rocketry and spaceflight. Sometimes a little bit of astronomy in there as well, but it's mainly the rocketry side of things that we go through in Capcom. And it's published 6 times per year, once every 2 months. Around 16 pages of A4 size magazine, and it's now available free. So if anyone wants to, see a copy of that, just send an email to me at capcom@spaceoddities.space, and we'll add you to the list.
There we are. So if you just send an email to capcom@spaceoddities.space and just put the subject of your email subscribe, you don't need to write anything in the email, and Michael will add you to the subscription list. And I just want to say that Capcom is a fantastic magazine that Michael produces every 2 months and has been doing so for decades. So it's a completely free magazine, and no strings attached, and we're happy to send it to you every 2 months. And it's very good reading, and Michael is to be commended for his ongoing efforts to produce such a fantastic quality magazine. So well done, Michael, and thanks. And there we are. So where are we? I think we'll go back to Lou now. I think you've sorted your difficulties out, Lou, hopefully.
Yep. We'll use the uploaded version.
Okay, well, let's put that up on the screen. So let's have a look. So there we are.
Here we go.
So take it away, Lou.
Well, the elusive Planet 9 has once again found its way into the news headlines. This could be big stuff if we can actually find this thing. This is a planet. Proposed planet that is kind of either a mini Neptune or a super Earth, 5 to 10 times Earth's mass, orbiting way out in the outer regions of the solar system, 400 to 800 times as far from the sun as Earth at its furthest. And that means, if you use your Kepler equations, that it's got an orbital period of 10 to 20,000 years. And so what's the big deal? Planet 9, as it's being called, is an hypothesized massive planet, first proposed to exist in 2014. And it has not been detected yet. So this is all indirect evidence. But astronomers have inferred its presence from the observed anomalies or perturbations of the orbits of some of the TNOs, the trans-Neptunian objects, Sedna, Makemake, Quaoar. They have some orbits that can't be explained without putting some massive body into the mix. And so astronomers have said, well, let's play around with this. Let's develop some computer software, some what are called n-body computations that take into account the gravitational effects from the giant planets, the primordial giant planet migration, right, called the Grand TAC model, even galactic tides, passing stars, the sun's early evolution within a star cluster. All of these things it takes into account. And when they do that, the resulting orbits of these TNOs align very closely with prediction when they use what's called the P9 inclusive model. And it also rejects a model that includes all of those things, but does not have Planet 9 in it, and that they can reject at a confidence level of 5 sigma, which just means they can really reject it. Okay, so none of this proves that Planet 9 is there, but it is all very suggestive, very consistent with a massive planet orbiting far outside the solar system, and quite likely a planet that formed much further in and was kicked far out by the gravity of Jupiter, very much perhaps like the orbits of Uranus and Neptune, which also formed much further in. Here's a graphic showing the orbits of some of the TNOs, including Sedna. You can see our tiny little solar system up through Neptune in the middle there, and then the proposed orbit of the planet 9. There is also another small body at the edges of the solar system that is nicknamed Kaju. It's also a TNO from a scattered disk. In other words, it's been scattered to the outer regions of the solar system by gravitational influences. It has a very highly eccentric and highly inclined orbit, which is not usual, right? The solar system, we believe, formed from just stuff. I tell my students, it's just stuff out there. But
Just
if
stuff.
it start to contract, things will start to look very symmetrical. So when we see things that are not symmetrical, we say, aha, something happened. And this is a small body that was discovered by the Dark Energy Survey at Cerro Tololo Observatory. And its orbit can be explained. One more piece of evidence by the existence of a 5 to 10 Earth mass planet 9 orbiting far out. Okay, so up till now we've said, well, it's theorized, it has not been observed. And as Andy showed us earlier, here is perhaps some observations in the infrared of planet 9. Now, the idea is it's far out from the solar system. Even though it's a massive planet, it's only receiving a tiny fraction of the light from the sun that, for example, that Earth has. So it's not reflecting much visual light. But as a large planet, it is emitting a fair amount of mid and far infrared light. So these two images are, in fact, infrared images taken over a period of decades. So this is the result of archival research.
Lou, can I just interrupt you a second?
Yes, sir.
I've got a bigger image of that might be a little easier to see. Let me just put this up on the screen. There we are. How's
Excellent. Excellent. So a team of astronomers headed by Terry Long Fan of the National Tsinghua, hope I'm pronouncing that correct, University in Taiwan, has looked into the data archives of 2 far infrared all-sky surveys to see if he can find Planet 9. And incredibly, they have found something that possibly could be that. So the first, on the left-hand side, is the Infrared Astronomy Satellite, IRAS. And this was launched in 1983 and operated for about a year, doing kind of an all-sky survey. So that's 1983. Then in 2006, the JAXA, the Japanese Space Agency, launched Akari, another infrared survey telescope that was active between 2006 and 2011. And the idea here is that if there's a planet out there and you want to observe it, you're going to have to identify that it's moving, right? It's going to be a little speck amongst the stars. And because it's so far from the sun, it's going to be moving very, very slowly. So if you could have 2 images taken decades apart, you might be able to identify something that would be moving in the position that's anticipated and at the velocity anticipated. That might indicate that we're actually seeing Planet 9. So this is a great use of archival research. You can see the scale here, the difference in the positions of what might be Planet 9 over those decades is about 3 arc minutes, or rather 3 arc minutes per year at a distance of 700 astronomical units. And so this is very encouraging. What it requires is some follow-up. And I should mention, our astute audience out there is probably just biting their tongue, waiting to say, but what about parallax? What about parallax when the Earth is on
Indeed. What about parallax?
Right? Well, there we go. You see, someone said when the Earth is on different sides of the sun, looking at a relatively nearby object against the very distant background of stars, that object will appear to move a little bit in position based on just the angle that you're seeing. So in order to account for this, the team only used data from the same date every year. And this means out or averages out parallax. So further observations are needed. James Webb Space Telescope, I believe, is intended to try to replicate these observations, and stay tuned.
Also, they need a telescope with a wide field of view for this. And there are also going to be follow-up observations with the Dark Energy Telescope in Hawaii, which has got the requisite field of view to make the observations. So
yes, I think I've also heard the Vera Rubin telescope.
Oh yes, well yes, the Vera Rubin, of course, when it comes online.
When it comes online.
But I mean, that's going to be later this year. I think first light is in July, if I remember rightly, with observations commencing towards the end of August. This will obviously be a prime target for the Vera Rubin telescope. We should actually do a special about the Vera Rubin telescope, actually, because it's going to be a potential game changer for astronomy when it comes online later this year. So perhaps we'll talk a bit more about the Vera Rubin telescope as we get.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because it's a really important telescope.
Mm.
Right. Can I just ask a question? You may not know the answer to this, Lou. So in the left-hand image, are those sort of reddish pixels underneath the word IRAS? Is that the source of the infrared? Is that the Planet 9? Do you think?
I think Planet 9 is actually in these images is actually a very small image right where it says IRAS, it's slightly reddish.
Yeah.
And then down here, just under the Akari, which is a little harder to see.
Yeah.
And that the number in the middle, I believe, is the angular distance between the two.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm assuming that a search like this would be automated, because it would take forever if you had to sit at a screen and try and find this tiny dot.
Perhaps maybe even machine learning would be great for this, for pattern recognition.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they've used some sort of AI to find this. But this is another thing that we can talk about at some point, the use of AI in astronomy. If that would be of interest to you viewers, learning about how AI is being used in astronomy, say so in the chat, and we'll definitely look into telling you about that. Either way, Lou, this is potentially a groundbreaking discovery. And because those initial observations of the clustering of the trans-Neptunian objects, it looked good at first, but then people were saying it was selection bias, that they hadn't done a complete enough sample of the objects to show any distinct pattern.
It could be. There's another suggestion that the sun formed in a cluster of stars, and so 4.6 billion years ago, you would have to know the positions of nearby stars fairly well, and perhaps you could build a model where some of these stars would replicate the same observations that we see today of the outer solar system. I don't know, but this is certainly consistent with the existence of a Planet 9.
Yes, and in fact, they narrowed it down to 12 possible targets, and only one of them survived the criteria. And it's exactly where you would expect it to be, between the two sets of observations, which are 23 years apart. So it's, as you say, it's extremely encouraging. So we will keep you posted on this, because this story is not going away. So whether it's confirmed or not, we will tell you all about it.
Yeah,
So
because we're also now sort of like in the almost 23 years for us to, if we did another observation, we should be able to detect, possibly if it is confirmed,
yeah,
the
indeed.
same amount of movement. So we are now due to take another photograph. And then, of course, we'll need probably about another, or what, so that'll be 3, and probably another 6 and 7 observations to be able to calculate its orbit. So it's it's an ongoing scenario, and it's going to be a long time before we'll actually be able to confirm that it is actually orbiting the sun. So it's a very interesting. I mean, they've been looking for it for such a long time.
Oh God, a long time. Long
Exactly.
time.
So this would be the the icing on the cake, if there could be. But of course, we probably won't be around to know. Oh dear,
Well,
never mind.
I think the initial suggestion that the clustering of the orbits of those trans-Neptunian objects, that was 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think that was when it started to be taken seriously. But, you know, astronomy takes a long time. It really does.
Yeah. Everything's dynamic, isn't it? Everything's moving.
But this is where the Vera Rubin telescope will be perfect for this job, because the Vera Rubin telescope, being a wide-angle survey telescope, will be able to spot anything changing in the night sky. And you know, even I should think, you know, well, maybe not immediately, but it's ideally suited for exactly this type of work.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Jolly good. Okay. So that's all very interesting. So thank you very much for that, Lou. Time will tell, as they say. And there we are. Let's just what we due to be doing next. Oh, okay. So I think we will now go over to the first of our weekly features, which is Einstein of the Week, the weekly look through the geniuses that are posting on social media about, well, not just astronomy and space and stuff, but science in general. That crops up a lot as well. So just give me a moment to sort myself out here. And here we are. So this is this week's Einstein of the Week, our trawl through social media to find what the brightest brains on the planet are saying about things. And we got 7 this week. Not a bumper week for stupidity, but a good week nonetheless. So let's go with number 7. Which I've called the danger of falling birds. This is not really somebody being stupid, as it normally is. This person's first language is obviously not English, but it's what she wrote that just made me chuckle. So no slight against her at all. But what she actually wrote, it was about satellites. And she wrote, with starling satellites falling daily, I wonder what will it fry them all. So watch out for those falling starlings coming from the sky. They could be dangerous. Will it fry them all? Well, going through the Earth's atmosphere, I should think so. But there we are, starling satellites. Beautiful.
So do they group together in a murmuration?
Oh, it reminds me of the film The Birds.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know, Michael, I rewatched that recently.
Oh, right.
I showed it to my daughter. She'd never seen it, and she absolutely adored it. And she, I think her exact comment was, "I always thought that old films are not scary." And I said, "Well, now you know." In fact, one of the scariest films you could ever watch is a film called The Haunting, from I think it was 1961. Directed by Robert Wise. It's one of the most terrifying films you will ever see in your life.
I've heard of him. Yes.
Yeah. There's no blood, there's no violence. It's just psychological terror of the supernatural. Well worth a watch. And amazingly, his next film after that was The Sound of Music.
Oh wow!
So,
Wow.
so going from deep terror.
Another good film.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there should be a combination, in fact, of The Haunting and the Sound of Music, turning The Sound of Music into a psychological terror.
Nice.
It might be already for some people. I don't know.
Don't you worry occasionally that the hills might be alive?
Oh no!
Terrifying.
Oh, well done.
Oh, very good, very good.
Oh dear.
How do you solve a problem like Maria? Kill her.
No, you mean like Michael?
Anyway, moving on. Number 6. Somebody talking about there was an EVA from the ISS not too long ago, and here was somebody talking about that, saying they're sick brackets. They're in some warehouse somewhere. They have to be considering the fact that they can't get past the firmament, or what atheists call the Van Allen belt.
Oh my goodness.
What? Can you translate
I think pretty much everyone calls it that. I don't know.
I was going to say, what do religious people call it? I thought it was called the Van Allen belt by everybody. And of course, this thing about the firmament that flat earthers and the religious are hung up on, the word firmament just means sky. That's all it means.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the thing is, the atheists, they wouldn't call it the Van Allen, they call it the Van Halen belt.
I think we can write better ones than these guys. We're on a roll here.
Okay, so yes, and there we are. So somebody thinks that the EVA was filmed in a warehouse, but there we are. Okay, so great comment. On to number 5. I've just what? See if you can work this one out, guys. Okay, so you forgot that there are a total of 9 worlds, and in every world there are a total of 9 universes. 9 times 9 equals, well, it's 81, obviously, but anybody work that one out?
No.
Unless they're talking about in the center of every universe there's a black hole, and the universes have been predicted to actually exist inside black holes. Yeah.
This must have been in some movie. I just can't imagine.
No, I can't grasp that one either. So moving swiftly on, number 4. Not a fan of Galileo.
Galileo.
The universe is just an illusion. Everything revolves around Earth. Galileo is an idiot.
Is that right?
Okay. Yeah, to the point, but wrong.
Yeah.
Ding dong.
Yeah. So what can you say? What can you say? Galileo may have been many things, but he was definitely not an idiot.
Galileo.
Yeah. And everything. I don't know what sort of an ego you have to think that everything revolves around the Earth.
Excuse me.
Who was
Sorry.
that?
Right, that was me.
If the universe is an illusion, that means we're an illusion.
Yeah. So yeah, and if the universe is an illusion, nothing can revolve around the Earth because nothing exists. Surely.
Exactly. Yeah.
I thought time was an illusion. Lunchtime. So.
Yeah, I would think so too, Michael, because of just 5 minutes spent with you feels like an hour. So there we are. Okay, moving on to number 3. The question of why Sirius twinkles so much was being discussed.
Okay,
And,
good.
it's a reasonable question. But this guy came up with a solution. What he thinks it's actually all about. I'd love to know the answer to that too. It could be the core and remainder of the Big Bang. So there you are.
It
Now
certainly
you know
is
why
very
Sirius
different to
is so much
everything else
bigger.
up there that we can
It certainly is
see
very
with
different to
naked eye.
anything else up there that we can see with the naked eye. Well, if it were the core and remainder of the Big Bang, whatever that's meant to mean, yeah, it would be very different. That's for sure.
So he hasn't heard of scintillation then?
No, no, obviously
Right.
not.
Okay then.
But
So,
there you are. That's an explanation. It's the core and remainder of the Big Bang. That's what you're seeing when you look at Sirius. Anyway, number two.
Where are these guys?
Yeah, exactly. Number two, no and no. This is actually a picture with a caption. Let's see if you can spot the mistake. A look back at Casper. Apollo 16 astronaut Charlie Duke gazes at the lunar module that brought him to the moon's surface.
Well, it's not the lunar module.
Absolutely. It's not the lunar module, it's the capsule.
Okay.
It's the command capsule.
No and no, definitely.
Yeah, no and no. All right, your start of a 10 no conferring. Can you actually name the command module for Apollo 16?
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Let me ask ChatGPT. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't actually make a note of what page that came from, but they obviously need to sack the person who writes the captions to their images.
Our audience can find it for us as we're leafing through these.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
You can find that
I should know because I've just done it on the thing. Casper and I think it was never mind.
Hang on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get back to that because we have come to Einstein of the week, and this one I've just called. There's nothing else for it. This person is just completely batshit crazy, and make of this what you will. Something about Jupiter. 100% cartoon fakery. Jupiter is not a cartoon ball planet. Jupiter is a wandering star. All our videos prove they are lying about Jupiter and what it is and how far it is. If you believe this, then this is the real Jupiter. You are dumbed down. You were programmed. You were brainwashed by the Freemasons public school system.
It's too much.
I know.
I didn't do bricklaying. I did woodwork. So I was brainwashed by the chippies.
Yes.
Yeah.
He obviously has an issue with Freemasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to go back on your previous entry, Andy, the Apollo 16 command module was named Casper, but the lunar module was named Orion.
So it is Casper, but it's definitely not
Casper. They got the description wrong.
Oh, dear me.
Anyway,
so there we are. Einstein of the week, completely batshit crazy.
Amazing.
What can you say? So there we are. So that's our this week's look at the Einsteins on social media.
I have a thought for you, Andy.
Sorry?
A few weeks ago, we had Dave Williams on as a lunar scientist. Well, another role that Dave has had at NASA is that he was curator of the websites for the National Space Science Data Center. So his name, by convention, by NASA government convention, is on the bottom of the websites. So people would email him. And the emails he got, some of them would make these look tame. And for a while, I had been after it. I said, Dave, you have to publish a book called Letters to NASA.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he has a collection somewhere of these. Just create people who had discovered how to travel faster than light and who knew all about the multiverse and and other things. I'd love to have Dave back on and have him share some of those with us.
Why don't you ask him? We'd love him to do that. I
shall do so.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a hoot, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So there we are. So there's Einstein of the week. More next week. I'm almost certain there will be more next week. I can say with a fair degree of confidence there will be more Einstein of the week next week. So there we are. Right. Please explain batshit crazy. Right. So batshit crazy. It's a figure of speech. It just means totally, completely, utterly over the hill, away with the fairies, crazy.
It's like a bucket full of frogs.
Yeah, madder than a bag of snakes.
Yeah.
So so there we are. All right then. So I think we're going back to Roger now, because it is time for another weekly feature, of course, which is Constellation of the Week. So
Yay.
Roger, what have you got this week as your Constellation of the Week?
Oh, it might be Pegasus then, perchance. Okay, so we're going to go through some of the things that we know are familiar with, and a few other objects that are in Pegasus. And it's surprising that there are quite a few there that we may have overlooked. So obviously named after the winged horse Pegasus in Greek mythology, and it's one of our 88 constellations. We've got quite a few bright stars here. We're known as Enf, Markab, Siat, and Algenib. And then we've also got the Alpha Andromeda, which is also tailored out with Pegasus, which is Alpharaz. So
I'm guessing that they're all Arabic names.
They usually are. They're either Greek, Arabic.
Yeah, Markab and all of them are. Yeah.
Alpharaz in it.
So we've got the name Peg from the Spring Well regarding the original entomology of Pegasus, the Pagi of Okeanos, where he was born, and proposed etymology of his name is Physas, lightning, and the Philosophy. Oh, this is getting good. So we're getting on to the other entomology for Pegasus. So it's Hesiod as the bringer of thunderbolts to Zeus. Ooh, so there we are.
So we're back to Galileo, thunderbolt and lightning. It says there.
Absolutely.
Very, very
So
fun.
if you have a look at Pegasus, it's like the winged horse, but he's on his back. So it's like an Australian version. So you've got
acrobatic.
So the head and stuff is down the bottom part, and then his legs are on the top part. So that is a bit confusing, but there we go.
I have a question,
you've got
Roger,
some of the, yes.
I have heard both the Great Square of Pegasus and the Great Square of Andromeda. And as it was explained to me, knowing nothing else, you put a diagonal through that square, and the lower, or I guess in this picture, the upper half is the head of Andromeda, the lower half are the wings of Pegasus. Is that correct? Do you know?
Well, you've got the head, which is on the bottom part, and then you've got the legs, which come out front on the top right-hand side. So he is upside down. So,
but he's there with Andromeda.
Yeah.
And
so Andromeda's up from behind, coming. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we've got the distances and the names of all the stars. So Alpha is Markab, then we go Beta is Shagat, then we've got Algenib, Enif, Hornum, Matar, Binham, Saddlebari, Salm, and Al-Karib, all very Arabic, as it says there. So they vary. The nearest one, which is Bitham, is 67 light years away, and going right up to Enith at 690. So the names of the stars here, if you look at the meaning, we've got the saddle, the upper arm, the side, the nose, the livestock, the leather bucket, and the bucket rope, which are quite interesting. So quite an interesting agglomeration of different names there for the different parts of that constellation.
Yeah, well, anything to do with horses, you need a bucket.
So going on to some of the objects, one of the main objects here is Messier 15, otherwise known as the Great Pegasus Cluster, which is quite a good globular cluster.
Beautiful. Yeah.
as globular clusters go. It was included in Charles Messier's catalogue. So there it goes. And it's estimated roughly 12 and a half, give or take 1.5 billion years old. One of the oldest known globular clusters.
Wow.
So it's roughly 335,700 light years away, 175 light years in diameter, and roughly a total luminosity at absolute magnitude 360,000 times that of the sun. So
Wow.
it could be quite bright if it was quite close.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we then go on to NGC 7331, or as Patrick Moore called it, it was number 30 in his catalogue. And this was also discovered by William Herschel in 1784. And it's sometimes referred to as the Milky Way's twin, believed to be a barred spiral. And this will be an image there. I didn't put an image with it. But more interesting is Stephen's quintet, which is just to the left of Coldwell 30. And this image that you see here is from one of Hubble's excellent captures of it. And 4 of the 5 galaxies are in physical association. So they are actually sort of interacting with each other there. So that's quite an interesting thing to look at.
Beautiful image.
Yeah. And this one's quite fun. It's NGC 7742, known as the Fried Egg Galaxy. And it does sort of live up to its name. Quite interesting. Yep. And yet again, William Herschel had noticed it, but he didn't actually see the ring. That it contained a ring, but no bar. So that's quite interesting. So it's
and if you look at the nucleus, the size of the nucleus compared to the rest of the galaxy, it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, quite interesting. So
and then you seem to have a gap, but you can see that there are actually arms to the outer.
But they're sort of disassociated with it.
Almost. That's beautiful. That is. I like that.
The latest thinking about how these galaxies form is that they are the result of an encounter with another galaxy in the distant past, but nobody really knows how they form like that.
Yeah. And then we've got the little Sombrero Galaxy.
Oh, poor thing.
Was, discovered by William Herschel as well with his 18.7-inch telescope. So he's done quite well spotting that, but that wasn't part of his Messier catalogue. But it was part of the new general catalogue, so it was considered considerably bright, considerably large, extended and very gradually brighter in the middle. So here is an image of that. And as you can see, it is very similar to the Sombrero Galaxy.
It is, yeah.
Very thin, isn't it?
It's got some quite interesting dust lanes through the middle there, sort of thick and thin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another little interesting object to capture later on. And this one, which is the Einstein cross, gravitationally lensed quasar. And that sits a little bit away from the constellation, but it is designated as being in Pegasus. So that could be an interesting thing to see. But obviously, this was taken with the Hubble telescope, unfortunately. So us with a sea star and whatever might have a little bit of a challenge to get that one.
I'll give it a go.
We'll get Lee to do that one from what he did with M81 and 82.
Yeah, there you are. There's a challenge.
And then we've got a barred spiral galaxy, NGC 7741, which is in the square. So that's quite good.
Yeah.
So they're between 5 and 9 million years old, some of the stars in here. So quite a lot of formation going on inside there.
That's a very pronounced bar as well.
And it's all part of a group of other galaxies that are also in there as well. So yeah, so there's a couple of new objects there that I wasn't aware of that will obviously need a bit more studying and imaging. So that's what we've got for this week's Constellation of the Week.
What was
Thank
the
you
number?
very
Sorry, Rog. What was the number of the egg galaxy?
The small egg
Can you-
one, right? Okay.
Can you
Oh,
remember?
hang on. Let's go back.
So I might
That
give it a go.
was 7741. 7742.
7742. Right, make a note of that. I might give that a
Right.
go.
Hmm.
See
Why
what we
not?
can find.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right then. So thank you very
Ooh.
much, Roger, for the Constellation of the Week. Hope you enjoyed
Okay.
that, viewers. And we'll bring you another Constellation of the Week next week. And
Well.
there we are. Okay,
Yes.
we're going to go back to Lou now because Lou wants to tell us about something on Titan. If you're
Well, I always want to tell you about something on Titan, but I don't always have something new to say. But today, there is some news, some new research studies. You'll remember that Titan is a fascinating world because it has this enormously complex prebiotic, if you will, atmosphere filled with hydrocarbons and nitriles. And most models suggest that it has a liquid water ocean many miles, perhaps hundreds of miles under the surface. So you start to put this together and say, hey, maybe Titan is a place where life either had formed or might still exist. So what do you do with that? Well, the first thing you do is you launch another mission. So Dragonfly, I think, will be launching in a few years, and we'll go to Titan and fly around the atmosphere and take measurements and give us a better sense. But until then, we can make some theoretical arguments. The thing is, you've got to have heat. Okay, it has a slightly eccentric orbit, so liquid water ocean under the surface. You need to have organics. It has that in spades. You also need to have nutrients. And so the question is, given all these organic molecules, what might be nutrients in an atmosphere that really has very, very little oxygen? And it turns out that not all of the organic molecules, I'll show you a spectrum in a moment, in Titan's atmosphere would constitute a food source. There is a limited exchange between the ocean and the surface. Studies have been done showing that the ocean is far enough down that you'd have to have some pretty large, pretty fast impactors to break through and deliver nutrients to the ocean. So a team of researchers has recently argued for, as they call it, a more nuanced approach. And so they're looking for a plausible scenario for life on Titan that assumes one of the simplest and most kind of remarkably simple biological metabolic processes, and that is fermentation. And yes, that is the same process that you use to make sourdough bread or beer or whatever it is you're doing these days. And it will spoil food as well. That's what we're talking about. But it only requires organic molecules. It does not require an oxidant such as oxygen, which is a crucial requirement for other metabolic processes such as respiration, of course. So the researchers in this study focused on a single organic molecule, a byproduct of fermentation called glycine. And it turns out that glycine is relatively abundant in the universe, at least the universe that we see. We see it in asteroids, we see it in comets, we see it in supernova remnants, stellar gas clouds. It's really, quite ubiquitous. And so, although we don't see glycine in the infrared spectra that we took from with the Sears instrument on Cassini or with the IRIS instrument on Voyager, some of its precursors do appear in the spectrum. So the question is, if glycine consuming microbes existed, how much of it could there be? How many of these microbes could there be? And because of this thick shell that Titan has over its ocean, we believe, probably there's not enough mass transport to result in much, and these researchers suggest that only a few kilograms of biomaterial could be developed and sustained. So this is, this is the mass of a small dog, I guess. This is just a preliminary study. Let me show you here. Oops, is that a blank slide? Here we go. This is a spectrum, brightness temperature on the y-axis, wave number on the bottom axis. And if you don't know how to convert wave numbers, as nobody does really, I think it's 10,000 over that number gives you microns, right? So 1,000 wave numbers is 10 microns. And here you see the very complex organic soup of Titan's atmosphere, but glycine is not present. HCN, which is a hydrogen cyanide, which is a building block of life, is present. Other things are present, but not glycine. So it is possible that these high resolution, high spectral resolution measurements don't have the sensitivity to detect these small amounts of glycine. So further study is suggested. But this is just one suggestion of how life might exist in the subsurface ocean of Titan. So we will await, as I almost always say, we will await further inspection. And that's what I got for Titan today.
Fantastic. Titan just gets more interesting and more interesting, doesn't it?
It does. And I'm one thing I'm happy about is even with all of the suggestions that missions will be cut left and right in the president's budget, which may or may not happen, it looks like Dragonfly is going forward. So that's going to be one heck of an exciting mission.
Yeah. When's it due to launch, Lou?
I think it's 2028.
Right.
Double check that.
Right. Ian says, I'm learning about the chaotic environment on Europa at the moment. Fascinating. Well, Europa, of course, we're going to get to know a lot better, a lot sooner, with the two missions on their way. The Jupiter Icy Moons
Europa Clipper.
And Europa Clipper.
Well,
yeah. So, yeah, Ian, you're quite right. Europa is fascinating. Can't wait for those two to arrive and work together to build up a more complete picture of Europa than we have at the moment. Because we've only got pictures close up of Europa from Voyager, of course, and we have some from Galileo as well. But we're going to get to that.
Right, Europa has a relatively thin ice sheath, which should allow for penetration from comets and asteroids. So I don't know. My money's on fish, whales, dolphins under the ice sheath of Europa.
Penguins?
The Dragonfly current launch date is scheduled for July 5th, 2028, arriving at Titan in 2034.
Oh,
so we'll see.
gosh. That's still 9 years away.
I know. Well, eat your Wheaties and exercise.
It'll be worth the wait, I'm sure. So, yes. Eat your greens, exercise, and just stay alive till 2034. Oh, God, that's a horrible thought.
Yep.
Anyway, on that note, we'll draw things to a close for this evening. again, thank you for supporting us during Moon Month, watching the videos. We've managed to post a total of 43 videos during Moon Month. We worked very hard to do that. And we hope that you watch them. If you look at the Space Oddities channel, there's a playlist there called Moon Month, and all the videos are in there. If you haven't watched any of Moon Month, please do, because we're sure you will A, enjoy them, and B, learn a lot. And we've certainly learned a lot putting them together, haven't we, Daz? So,
yeah, except for the name of the Apollo 16.
How quickly we forget.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, to be fair, Daz, we have been absolutely overwhelmed with names of spacecraft, haven't we?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they've all merged into one. That's the trouble. I mean, from the Mercury to the Gemini to the Apollo. I'm going to finish off possibly doing Skylab, because that finished off the Apollo. Bits and bobs had lying around into that, and then so far, but it's built up into a lovely little catalogue, and we will be adding stuff to it. With some of the characters involved and things like that, but they'll just be surplus, so they'll just sort of like add to the story. So
and Apollo Soyuz this year,
and Apollo Soyuz, yeah.
We'll be adding it to it all, and finish it all off, and build up a nice little catalogue of the Apollo.
You may remember that a few weeks ago, Daz told us the amazing, fascinating story of the Moonrakers. Well, we've given that its own separate video. Also, the moon trees that we talked about with our special guest Dave Williams a few weeks ago. Yeah. There's a video just about those as well, and it's all in the.
Also, sorry, in that also you've got the Artemis trees as well.
The Artemis trees as well.
The trees that went round on Artemis 1, round the moon. So,
that's right. So
so even more extended.
Yeah. So there's lots of great stuff in the Moon Month playlist. We hope you enjoy it. All right, then. I'd like to say a big thank you to all the guys here, Daz and Roger and Michael and Lou, for their help this week and their contributions. And don't forget the Capcom magazine. Send an email to capcom@spaceoddities.space with subscribe as the subject to receive your free Capcom magazine as it's a PDF, isn't it, Michael?
That's right. Yeah. I'll put it in the chat. Actually, can't find it now.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, and of course, thank you. Well, basically, thank you everyone for their time tonight, and thanks for the lovely images. They were gorgeous in the gallery. So lovely.
Thanks as always for your fantastic space images. And you know, as we always say, you don't have to use expensive equipment to submit things to the gallery. Even a mobile phone image will do. But anything you think you'd like to share with other people that you think they might like, then attach them to an email. We would prefer you, if possible, to attach the images to an email rather than paste the images into the body of the email itself, because it makes it a lot easier to deal with. And if you could sort of restrict the resolution to 1920 by 1080, which of course is the standard screen size on a computer, screen resolution on a computer, not much point in having bigger images. So we'd be grateful for that as well. So next week, we will bring you something else. Not quite sure what yet, but we will be back, as always, like the proverbial bad penny, on Space Oddities at 8 p.m. UK next week in the same place. And until then, we hope you have a fantastic week. I hope you get clear skies. And we will see you next week. So from all of us at Space Oddities, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to just check out the Moon Month playlist if you haven't already. And we will see you next week. So from all of us, take care of yourselves. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Keep looking up.
Bye-bye.